And another huge welcome from the Sports Show. This is Emdad, your anchor and your host here, otherwise known as the Wandering Londoner. It's almost the end of another year for us. It's been a very, very busy year in sports. And as you all very well know, the Sports Show is a platform for not only superstars, but this has never been a priority for myself or LB24 TV, but also for organizations and individuals who are involved in fantastic achievements at grassroots level. I have here with me three guests today in the studio, and I will introduce them to you shortly. They are part of a well-known and established Taekwondo club known as Silverback, based mostly in East London. I know them from their activities in Barking and Dagenham. And with some of the youngsters making great progress and me following their journey over the course of the last few years, I've decided to interview them by inviting them here today. So without any more delay and without any further haste, let me introduce my guest to you. So I have Musa Ahsan here on my right, and I have Mustafa Abidin, who's not actually a stranger to the sports show. He's been on there before. For those who are dead keen-eyed and who follow the show regularly, you will recognize Mustafa from before. Obviously, he's a little bit older and not so baby-faced as he was. And we have a community activist, celebrated sportsman Zoinul Abidin, who's also here. And I'm not going to introduce much more here, because what I will let everybody do is do the explaining as we take part in the interview. So welcome everybody to the sports show. Now, the first question to Musa here today is, what is the meaning of Taekwondo?
So the meaning of Taekwondo is the art of hand and foot. So that's what it literally means.
Musa, Taekwondo, does it originate from Essex?
No.
Are you sure?
Yes, I'm very sure. It actually originates from Korea, and it is also founded by General Choi Hong-ki. He's from Korea and it's originated from.
So what you both are saying right here now is me thinking that Derek Trotter from Peckham introduced Taekwondo as a discipline is completely wrong.
Yeah. Completely wrong.
Boys, how old are you both?
11.
We're both 11.
Both 11.
Turning 12 this year, I am.
Are you in the same year group at school?
Yes, we are.
And which school do you attend?
Barking Abbey Weasels.
Barking Abbey in Barking and Dagenham. So big up to Barking and Dagenham if anybody's watching, especially if the head teacher is watching. I know you've got nothing better to do than to watch the sports show here today on Christmas Eve. So if you are watching, please say hello to the boys, and obviously do share the link as well. Now, going back to, I've been following your journey for a number of years, and the sports show is about people of all ages, of all abilities. This is why I referred to it at the beginning of the show as a platform, because we don't simply concentrate on superstars. We concentrate on people who are doing amazing stuff. So both of your journeys began before COVID. But before I come to you, I've got a question to ask Mustafa's dad, Zoinul, here as well. So we've invited you here not as a sportsman, or not because of your distinguished records in sports for spanning 4 to 5 decades now within our communities in East London. Zoinul, you as a parent, what has been your primary focus for engaging your son and in sports?
So thank you for inviting me, and thank you for inviting Musa and Mustafa to today's show. I think the key thing for me is nowadays, like when we were growing up, me and you, although I was slightly older than you and better at football, but that's another story. When we were growing up, we didn't have any devices. We didn't have many channels on TV to watch. So we were always out there playing football, doing running, doing different bits. And what I really felt for my son, that he needed something that he could do regularly, some sort of sports activity that he could do regularly. That way, he's not focusing on the TV or focusing on the mobile phone. He doesn't have a mobile phone yet, but any other devices like a tablet or a laptop, because that's one of the biggest problems now for youngsters. They're hooked into those devices, and you can't blame them because these gadgets are really interesting, but actually physical exercise in whatever shape or form is really important to me. You don't have to look at my stomach, Mustafa. But you guys are skinny, and that's the point, innit? Like to do some sort of exercise, some form of healthy exercise regularly. That was my intention. Yeah.
So, boys, your journey, you're both now in year 7. So, it's been quite a few years that you've been involved on this journey. If I'm correct, Mustafa and Musa, your journey began when you were, well, actually before COVID. So, before the COVID pandemic. So, tell me, maybe Mustafa, go first. Tell me a little bit about your journey, how you got into Taekwondo.
So I don't know why, but like when I was really, really young, I just really wanted to get into some sort of fighting, some sort of martial art. When I was, me and Musa started when we were 6. So I joined this martial art Taekwondo, and when I joined, I thought it would be like in the movies when people learn how to fight, stuff like that. Like I thought that it would be like so easy, like a piece of cake, but then really it actually comes with a lot of discipline. But although it was a lot harder than I thought, it actually makes me a lot stronger. Because if it was easy, then it wouldn't have been like as it wouldn't be as effective. You wouldn't be where you are right now. So I feel like it's sort of taken me through it like very well. And Taekwondo is very good martial art to like warm up to, and I feel like it's taught me a lot.
And yourself, Musa? So again, we're going to come back to the COVID question a little bit later, well, in the next few questions, but tell me about your journey. Do you still remember? You must have been, well, not exactly a baby or a toddler, but very, very young. So what, around 7, 6 or 7? Oh, 6 or
6 and
pretty
7.
much toddlers. Okay. So tell me about your journey, your experience so far in the art of Taekwondo.
So when I started because my dad saw Mustafa training, and then he was like, "Oh, I want to get my son into this. It'll be good for him, like get some fitness, get some discipline, and then as he grows up, it's good for him." And yeah, that's how I started. And then me and Mustafa, we pushed each other through, and when it got hard, we didn't stop. We we pushed the best out of each other, and that's how I am here today.
Okay, great. Between you two, can you tell me about the belts? Obviously, you can tell I'm not a martial artist, but I have done a bit of reading up, and I'm obviously dazzled by your shiny medals in front of us here as well. So you have a belt system. Yeah. Okay. So between you two, can you tell me, Mustafa, go first, about the belts? So what do you start off with?
I think most people would know this. You start off with white, so it kind of signifies innocence, and then you go up to yellow tag, yellow belt, green tag, green belt, blue tag, blue belt, red tag, red belt. Then finally, where me and Musa are, black tag, and then after that is black belt. So then those are all the colored belts, and it takes about 5 years to get to where we are now.
So it takes you from beginning to
where we are now. 5
it
years.
took you about 5 years
Yeah.
to complete this. Musa, what's the, I mean, if assuming that you're working hard and you're attending your classes regularly, learning regularly, and also passing, of course, you need to pass each grade as well. What's the time between each grade?
So when you start from the belts between yellow and green tag, you have a 3-month period, and if you feel like you're not ready, you can not go to the 3-month one, but do a 6-month one. And after you get your green tag, then you cannot grade every 3 months. You have to grade every 6 months, because the amount you have to learn, the level you have to be at is like you can't achieve that level in 3 months. So you do it. So for us, black belt grading is once a year, and our one will be in September. And so normally our belts every 6 months we grade.
So as a parent, I know you're not physically there in class with them, but you as a parent who's always been active and had a huge passion for sports, how does it feel? So knowing you being active in sports always, so this time you're pretty much on the sidelines. So you're watching this. So you must be throwing every punch, so every kick from the. But what's the difference for you sitting there watching your children develop?
I'm really proud of both of them, and especially because I think if you play football, and we played a lot of football, there's different types of rules and it's straightforward. The taekwondo is hard. Like the discipline they have to show, the techniques they have to learn, the patterns that Mustafa often tells me, I'm like, that's not me. Like I couldn't do it. So that way it makes it even more. I feel even more proud that both of them are on black tag and about to go on to do their grading for black belt. Now that's a huge achievement um, for any age, child or an adult, but especially an 11-year-old. Both are 11, and obviously COVID was a factor that they lost probably 2 years because it was closed. Otherwise they would have been on black belt significantly earlier, I'm assuming. But I think they can explain it, but I don't really understand the theory bit of it, and the patterns, etc. But I think Mustafa or Musa can explain it. That's the hard bit, I think.
So it's not just about the physical side, Musa, isn't it? So you have to also learn about theory. Can you tell us a little bit about what that entails?
So the theory is like each pattern. So a pattern is a set of movements against an imaginary opponent. Some people might call them forms. So they each one has a different meaning, and you have to learn the meaning. So that's part of theory. There's the theory of power. There's the training secrets, which is different like things that you can do to increase your to make it look something perfect. And the theory is also Korean, so you have to learn some Korean words, the techniques, some of the techniques in Korean for your grading. So then, because that's what they might ask you.
What values has Taekwondo, and obviously under the guidance of your teacher, Khosruddin, who's also again a renowned instructor within our community as well. What values has this instilled in you?
Well, it's actually given me a lot more discipline, and it's actually got me and Musa, I'm assuming, like a lot more fit, a lot more better on the physical side, and it's also like just seeing the Taekwondo community. You make friends, you support each other, and like it kind of like it makes you more confident as well. And then it's like then it also automatically makes you like part of a more wider community. And it's although it's martial art, you're fighting and all of that, there's also a very friendly side to it as well. So it makes you very
So enough of these boys pretending to be angels. Let's hear it from the parent himself. So Zoinul, since the age of 6, both boys have been pretty much involved in Taekwondo. They're nearing this part of their journey, the end of this part of this journey, very, very soon, hopefully in 2025. What benefits and changes have you seen over the years?
I think obviously there's a bit about the technique, but what's been interesting is um, the soft drinks. They don't have soft drinks. They have more healthy snacks because apparently they have to do a lot of push-ups, etc. So in order to be fit and strong, I'm really surprised that the amount of push-ups they can do. We probably ask you in a minute how many push-ups you can do. And in order to do some of that, it's not just going to taekwondo, learning but having the discipline at home with food, and even not going onto devices, etc., because they have to learn the movements at home. They have to practice at home. They train regularly, so the added benefits is more. It's not just going to taekwondo and getting a red tag or a red belt or a black belt, etc. I think, and the other bit indirectly or probably directly gives them a lot of confidence. So they're starting, both of them, a secondary school, year 7. It's unlikely anyone's going to bully them. And if bullies come, they will know how to have that confidence in terms of handle the situation. It's not about beating anyone up, but that's just having that general confidence. And that's really important for youngsters these days, because there's a lot of nastiness out there in the real world. And just having the confidence that gives them, not because they're going to use the Taekwondo skills, but just general confidence because they know they can defend themselves and protect themselves if something comes their way.
So has Taekwondo given you confidence?
Yeah, it has definitely given me a lot more confidence, because when you do Taekwondo, you have to be confident in yourself, because if you're not confident in yourself, you won't be able to do anything. If you're not confident, let's say if you try and kick, if you do a kick, if you're not confident with that kick, it's going to be all sloppy. It's going to fall. There's not going to be any power behind it. And you can take this confidence out of the classroom, the Taekwondo classroom, into the real world. And exactly what my grandfather said.
Grandpa, who's that?
Who's your grandfather? Sorry, who's your grandfather?
That's
Are you
not bad.
joking? So there's a family relationship here as well.
I've
So,
always said to him, he should call me bro. He's making me old.
all right, okay. So a nice discovery for everybody. It's the first year now for the sports show. For you viewers who are watching now, there's a little treat here now. So we got grandfather, and we got, well, technically speaking, 3 generations, although it's 2 there as well, but technically speaking, 3 generations, which makes you 2 cousins.
Well, I'm actually his uncle.
Oh, you're actually his uncle. Sorry, not cousins. You're his uncle.
His dad is my cousin.
His dad is your cousin. See,
Yeah.
you and your family have to always mess things up on the sports show. So, Mustafa, does that add a competitive edge to you guys, whether it's training or participating or competing?
Well, yes, like a very, very big one, because like if you're competing with your friends, like it's competitive, but when it's with family, it's a lot more different because you see them a lot more often, and it also makes us push each other. It makes us stronger, and just us competing, it kind of like it makes it more fun, because if something is fun, you would learn it more faster, things like that. Yeah. So if me and Musa push each other, we're making it more fun, more better, and it also boosts our confidence, like my dad and Musa said. So yeah, it kind of like pushes us more.
Musa, who's your Taekwondo role model?
My role model would be my instructor, because he's always pushing us to be the best version of ourselves.
And what's his name?
His name's Mr. Udin, or
Mr. Khosruddin.
yeah, Mr. Khosruddin.
Celebrated individual.
Yeah,
He's a legend.
yeah. he is.
You guys probably don't know. You just know him as sir or instructor, but a lot of us know him for many, many years, and he is a legend. So if you didn't know that, you've heard it here first. Again, an exclusive on the sports show. And again, sorry to interrupt you. What are his top qualities? Why do you see him as a role model?
Because he's always pushing us, like he always wants us to be the best, as in he wants us to put always or not even 100% effort, 110% effort in. He persuades us to always like be in the moment, not just be like sloppy, and not just like, you should always like be 100% there and always 100% effort.
And your role model?
Well, obviously we have more than one instructor in the class, and I feel like my role model would be my other instructor. He's a bit more younger than Mr. Udin. His name is Mr. Hussein, and
I'm sure Khosruddin will be delighted with that description.
well, of course, I like them all equally, but this is another role model, because I look up to all of them. But this one, he makes it fun. He makes it competitive, and even between me and Musa, he calls us yin and yang, and then he does this thing like the dragon warrior, stuff like that. So he kind of makes it fun for us, and he makes it competitive for us. He also the other day, me, Musa, and all the other black tags, we were all fighting him just for fun, and he makes Taekwondo fun, and like I said before, you learn faster when it's fun. So he's a very good role model, and another thing, he's very, very good at fighting, and I think in competitions he does very well. So we also look up to him, and we sometimes pick up skills from him, and even sometimes he teaches us sparring techniques and stuff, me and Musa. So yeah, it's very very fun.
Zoinul, why is it important for children to have role models outside of the home? Because sometimes it's sufficient for them to have, the dad, uncles, older brothers, sisters, mother as role models in that house. But why is it important for children to also have alternative role models outside of the family structure?
Yeah, the way the life works and the way the world works, that you want to aspire and see something. And sometimes I say to people like, like when we were growing up, you had Linford Christie, you had all these like people breaking world records, etc. And then it's hard to be someone like that because they're very talented. So sometimes being grounded and within your surrounding and within your environment, seeing someone and that likability factor will inspire you to do something. And for young people, if they don't have any role models, then nowadays it could be mental health issues, it could be depression, it could be other factors that makes it difficult for young people. And one of the things I say to young people, even these two, is like, if they were in trouble and they wanted to share something and they couldn't go to their parent, they need to know that they can go to someone. That's at a low level. And at a higher level, what's interesting, when you ask them about the Taekwondo role model, it wasn't anyone from Olympics, it wasn't anyone out there, it was their teacher, it was their sir, it was their instructor. And maybe that's because currently within our minority communities, there isn't a role model that they can associate with, or they can see someone like them out there winning a world champion, etc. And that's not important in the scheme of things. So that's why sometimes children and we get confused in terms of what should be a role model. And if the role model is too far-fetched, then it's like, I can never be that person because they're very talented. If it's someone closer, then it's like, oh, maybe I can. And that's why in some way Musa and Mustafa, they're technically role model to each other, and they're like want to be better than each other. So it gives them that competitiveness to do something better.
Musa, is Taekwondo just about fighting?
That might be a stereotype that some people may have with martial arts. I don't think it's just Taekwondo that this goes to. I think lots of martial arts, it's not always just about fighting. There's a lot of other things that work in a martial art, that are in a martial art, that make the martial art what it is. So it's not just fighting or sparring. There's patterns, there's theory, there's technical, there's always a technical side. So like how you do the techniques, if you do it right. There's so many different factors towards the martial art that make it what it is. Because without these things, or without anything, without like one part, even if there was one part missing, the martial art wouldn't be how it is. It would be incomplete.
Mustafa, again, very good answers from Musa there. Just going on for that, maybe a few more points. Has it added discipline in your life? I mean, one example I can use is, do you watch what you eat? You've touched on that before, but maybe elaborate a little bit on that. Do you watch what you eat? Do you go to bed on time? Obviously, your dad mentioned the fact that you don't have smartphones, and that's something that we should applaud, because nowadays, even for parents, Zoinul, it's a cop-out. It's not about the children. At the end of the day, ultimately, the responsibility is with the parents. You're the one who gets them the contract. You're the one who actually physically goes and buys them that. And I think it's a cop-out for a lot of parents who are unwilling to put in the time. Some can't because of maybe, work-life balance, for example. But some just think it's an easy ride. When they're toddlers, even just to feed them, plonk a mobile phone in front of them with a YouTube cartoon on, and it does a trick as well. But in terms of your discipline, Musa, has it helped you personally with your discipline?
Well, yes, it has. Like very, because, like, just in general, let's say at school, I don't know. When I eat, like you said, do I mind my food? Yeah, I do. I don't eat sweets all the time. I don't have junk. Like even if I didn't do taekwondo, even if anybody doesn't do taekwondo, you should always mind your food. But taekwondo has kind of pushed me to do that as well. And it's given me discipline at school. I don't know, when I'm at the mosque, this, that, like everything.
You didn't beat up the imam?
Obviously not.
Okay. just making sure. You didn't get him in a headlock or something like that?
No. The discipline is making me not.
Okay. That's a conversation for another day. Yeah, carry on.
And then, yeah, so it's very like...
Oops,
I'm going to pick it.
Sorry.
So like it just like it kind of like just builds on to your discipline. And without like martial arts, they have like you might think, oh, this guy just keeps on saying discipline, but it actually comes with a lot of discipline. And when you take this discipline in, it helps you like a lot around your life and stuff. Because if you didn't have discipline, like it's just like you think everything's easy, but with discipline, because of this martial art, like we see things as a lot more like better. So yeah.
As a parent, Zoinul, why would you try to persuade other parents to join you on this same journey? Some people might be just looking at, thinking, this Zoinul is crazy. He's got such a busy life schedule, work life, and on top of that, he's dedicating all this time for his child's welfare, traveling here, there, out of London, Hertfordshire, all over London, investing money, time. He's entitled to put his feet up and do a crossword word search. I know you're a long way off from that situation as well, but you get what I'm trying to say. There will be parents there who are just resigning, thinking, you know what, I'm way past this. I can't. So what motivates you? And what advice can you offer these parents to say, look, you need to get involved with your children in things like this?
Sometimes as parents, we have to think about our childhood. What was our childhood dream? What did we want to do? Actually, I did a bit of karate when I was young, but I wasn't good at it, never finished it. So it's like me getting Mustafa to do my bit and get a black belt that I couldn't necessarily do. But what's really key for parents, like sometimes finance becomes an issue for some parents, and the club they go to is not that expensive. It's like it's £5 a week for hour or 15 minutes. So in the scheme of things, it's not that expensive. I suppose then it's the time commitment. Like I have to take him, drop him off, collect him on a Tuesday, and then because they both are on a black belt, there's an additional session on a Saturday morning. So I work 5 days, then I have to wake up early on a Saturday, drop them off, then disappear for 2.5 hours at home, and then come back and collect them. Now, unless I'm prepared to put that time in, they're not going to do it. Like if Mustafa and Musa had a choice and suddenly I said, okay, I can't make it on a Saturday morning, and they'd be like, oh, thank God for that. I don't have to go, maybe. Then I can play at home and,
yes,
and that bit of it. But I think for all of us parents, and it's not just about Taekwondo, it's about anything. Unless we're prepared to give time for our children, how can the children improve on anything in life? And all of us can say busy, and busy is a bit of a myth. Like people have a perception that I'm really busy, but actually I have a lot of free time as well.
Yes.
If I want to make that time. And then it's up to me to make a choice what I do with that free time. Do I go with friends? Do I go to the grocery? Or what do I do? Or do I spend that little bit of time for the children and get them to do something productive that's worthwhile for them when they grow up? Just trying to inspire them. And I'm sure if you ask Mustafa, Musa, when they wanted to quit, they can tell you.
Yeah, we'll be coming on to that. But just before that, your dad is not getting off that quick. So there is a story, Mustafa, you'll be pleased to know, and you can use that against your dad now going forward. We're in the studio, so all handcuffs are off, all bets are off as well. So apparently the martial arts that your dad was referring to when he was young is known as, well, was known as Pagla Kung Fu. Okay, and he was that bad. The instructor paid your dada to stop him coming in there. So that he had a very, very short career. But it's just a rumor. It's just a rumor, and I'm sharing there as well. But then again, now your dad's giving me a prompt for a very, very good question for both of you here now. Musa, you're in year 7 at Barking Abbey. Again, well done to Barking Abbey for having pupils of your caliber there as well. Did you ever, or do you ever think about quitting?
So I personally didn't think about quitting, but it did get hard. It's the truth. It's not always going to be easy, even in life. Life's never going to be easy. You're going to face walls, you're going to face things that are going to stop you in life, but you have to work hard and overcome them.
Great. And the same question to you, Mustafa. Did you ever, or do you still think, oh, I just can't be doing with this now. This is too much for me. I want to quit.
I mean, yeah, like at one point, I think I was like green belt. It was around the middle. I think like a green tagish, something around there. I did feel actually like quitting. I actually asked my dad, can I quit? But then he said that I shouldn't. And I thought that like he's just like, he probably just thinks, oh, like, cause he said to keep fit. But then I thought, oh, I go football, all this, like I still do that. But like then I'm very, very happy that my family kept on pushing me on and that I didn't quit. Cause like after, even though at that time I'd only been through taekwondo for a bit, now I've gone all the way this way, and if I quitted back then I wouldn't have been here. And also Musa would be like, I don't know, like he'd be black belt or something, and I'd just be looking up to him and I'd be thinking, oh, why did I quit? So I'm very happy that my family told me not to quit. And yeah, and it does get hard. Yeah, very hard.
Some seriously good responses. Zoinul, I'm wondering, did Coach Khosrow brief them beforehand? Because I haven't shared the questions. I can say that live on air right now here, as you're watching me live on air, and as God is my witness, I did not brief them in terms of the questions. These questions are actually free-rolling questions that are coming through as well. But I'm beginning to think, has Coach Khosrow given them some interview techniques and coaching? Has he given you some coaching before you come on? Or you better do this. You better say. He doesn't even know you're here. So this is going to be a surprise for him as well going
Big
forward.
surprise.
When it comes to your children, now they're one step away from the Holy Grail, so which is the black belt at Taekwondo level. They're still very, very young, relatively young, speaking in terms of their age. You as a parent, how far are you prepared to push yourself in order to see them achieve their dreams, which is just a grasp away now, hopefully in 2025, but also if they want to continue in the future?
Like it feels like when they were white, green, red, and all those belts, it feels like as soon as they go into black, I've signed up for life in it, and I want them to progress. And I think within black belt, there's loads of other dan, or what do you call it? Dan.
Yes.
So first dan, second dan. So there's a long way to go.
There's a lot of progress to be made.
A lot of progress to make, a lot of other techniques and stuff to learn. And in my life, like me and you, we've played football, we taught football, etc. And for me, my big aspiration for both of them will be like they continue to excel, and when they're adults, they do something with their talent and pass it on to the next generation. I think that's going to be the key thing. Unfortunately, me and you, we're not going to be here all our lives. Like we'll be old, we'll die, we'll move on, just the way nature takes its course. But you both still young, and we want to continue to have a legacy with Taekwondo. And I think that's the key important bit. Like they've come a long way. Like we were discussing earlier, they were saying like we took them to a competition in Hertfordshire. And even Musa's dad came with us. We went, all of us as a family, we stayed in a hotel, had a day out, weekend out. Now those things are little things that if parents don't do it, they don't get the exposure in a regional competition. And once they get that competitiveness and they see that they can be successful, and even I go there and I get scared and think, you know, he's going to get hurt, or really this is maybe that's not for him, etc. But actually, that's exposure is needed, and that gives them that confidence. You are saying, how have they been so good at answering the questions? That in itself is giving them that confidence and that discipline that they could go into any environment and talk about something that they're passionate about and not be that nervous in terms of and how they come across in terms of with the answers.
Do you ever feel nervy when you're watching them participate?
Yes, definitely. That's what I'm saying. End of the day, they're my own son. He's going to get hurt. So do I want to put him in that environment? But few knocks, few bruises, few competitiveness, because Mustafa naturally is such a nice boy. Like he doesn't want to hurt anyone.
Could have fooled me, Mustafa. You could have fooled me.
And it's like you're in a competition. It's not about hurting. You have to put some punches and kicks to win the competition, win the points.
Of course you do.
So yeah, no, it's any parent putting their child in a fighting environment would think, oh,
It is. And boys, again, the discussion we have here, your dad made a very important point here. It is to remember that your fiery edge and your enthusiasm, sometimes if you take that away, so you can have the nicest people, but when you put them into a sports setting, they're completely different. And they get fiery edge, they're very, very enthusiastic, they're completely on it. And people complain, saying, you know what, this person's a really nice. No, that's completely different. As long as, should we say, you're not being disrespectful, and you're not cutting corners when it comes to certain values that we treasure and hold important in our lives. These things are very, very important. Otherwise, it doesn't make you the same athlete. You can still be a nice person in real life, but you can have that fiery but fair temperament when you're competing. And if you try to diminish that or extinguish that, it could take away from your performance. You can't always be nice and smile at someone and shake their hands and give them a hug before a competition. Do you agree with me, both of you?
Yeah, but at the end, you should.
At the same time, the competition element is very, very, at the end, again, Musa made a very good point. By all means. But you can be fiery,
Yeah.
but you don't have to be disrespectful at the same time. There are people who are very, very fiery, very, very competitive, but they're not disrespectful. They don't use foul language.
Yeah, some
They don't
people.
offend people. Whereas for some people, that's part of the game. They're nice people, but they will go into a, say, for example, you two go into a press conference in the future. Let's hope that happens. We'll get free tickets for that show. And then pre-fight, you have a press conference. A part of your strategy might be to insult each other, because what you want to do is you want to get inside his head. He wants to get inside your head. You want to get inside the skin. Maybe nice Mustafa loses his edge and then throws a punch at Musa in the press conference. And then Musa thinks to himself, I've got him. Even before the fight started, I've got him to lose discipline. Or even if you don't know, some boxers, they try it. For example, some sports people, they try it before it happens. They say something during the press conference. And then what they do is when you lose the plot, the other fighter and the management team, nowadays, because they have so much money invested in athletes and sports people, they even have psychologists watching that exchange. The psychologist will come and say, that Mustafa found his weakness. What is that? He lost his rag when Musa offended him. He lost his rag. So he has got a weakness there as well. You can sometimes do something, you can trigger him in the ring or when you're fighting, whether it's Taekwondo or any other discipline or any other sport, you can trigger him. And what we'll do is he'll lose his temper, which means he'll lose discipline. And when he loses discipline, he's there for the taking. It's that fine. When it comes to sport, it's that fine. Right, let's talk about COVID. We're not far from the end of the interview, so I'm going to get a few more questions in again. COVID stopped your progress for at least a year. Was it difficult for you, Musa?
So before COVID, there was many people that trained with us. So there was probably about 10 white belts that were all the same level of us. But then after COVID, there was only like 3 or 4 of us left. There was like not a lot of us left because everyone left. So that was the thing that might have been hard because everyone's gone, and then you don't want to just be there like by yourself. But then I had Mustafa, so it wasn't that bad. But like you don't want to, like, I don't know, because people might say, oh, where everyone's left, or why are you still there? But then it's a good thing that you're still there, because even after COVID, you want to still pursue your dreams. You still want to get that black belt after all. You don't want to just leave and then just because everyone else is, you don't want to just follow the crowds if they're not doing the thing that you want to do. You should do what you want to do and what you think would be best for you.
And Mustafa, you again. So even myself, viewers, if you're watching, so why I asked this question is very, very important. Do we stop when, the pandemic was once in a lifetime experience for us all as well. Me, myself, personally, I was actually coaching on Zoom because there were many, many children. Remember, it was people who were off, they were at home, they were stuck indoors mostly. Outdoor recreation time was very, very limited. There are some people who will be watching the sports show today thinking, what is he talking about when he means about COVID lockdown? Because they just don't know what's happened. So in terms of me, myself personally, I was coaching on Zoom. So it was important and interesting for me to get insight from these two youngsters today in terms of what they did. So, Mustafa, I don't know if you're too young to remember, but do you remember during COVID time, we used to do, your dad invited me and we all did Juma in your back garden. I don't know if you were too young then to remember, or do you have any faint memories?
I remember what
So
you're
we
talking
used to
about.
do Juma. Your dad set it up. We used to do Juma in your. So that's the Friday prayers for the
Yeah.
viewers who don't understand what I'm referring. So the Friday prayers, the special prayers, the Juma prayer on Friday. We used to perform it in your garden. So your dad had the setup there, and your mum
Yeah.
used to cook some nice food as well.
Yeah, I
We used to have
remember.
food afterwards as well. Obviously, we were all segregated and all that, but we had. It was very, very nice because it was nice to get together, go into the garden, pray. But obviously, when I was in your garden, I noticed that your dad had set up a bit of artificial turf there, and he had a goalpost there. So it was obvious to me that sport was still a priority for you as well.
Yeah.
So obviously you weren't allowed to participate with Coach Khosru in your Taekwondo sessions.
Yeah.
Did you keep fit? And what did you do to keep yourself? Because obviously you've mentioned several times here, you don't have the luxury of spending too much time on devices or smart devices. You might occasionally, but no. So was it difficult? Musa's answer there. So was it difficult for you? And what small things did you do to keep yourselves fit, not only physically as well, but mentally as well?
Well, I mean, yeah, of course it was hard to like maintain discipline, to like keep yourself up, like not quit, all of this stuff. And also like just little things, like I don't know, play in my garden. Like I got this new basketball hoop. I play with it all the time. Like, but although like playing football in the garden with my brother, something like that, it keeps you fit, but it's also fun, and it even when it's fun, when it's competitive, all of this stuff, it also gives you confidence, and that helps you mentally. It boosts your confidence, and it just makes you a better person. Just overall, just adds lots of different traits to yourself.
Zoinul, in our culture, there's a great emphasis placed on the role of a tutor in whichever way you look at it. So the role of an ustad, a teacher, is often likened to the equivalent of the role of a father as well. We take our relationship with those who teach us knowledge or discipline, wherever we get knowledge from, whatever cultural background, religious background, nationality they're from, we take the role of our teachers very, very important. How strong is your relationship with their coaches, and why is it this relationship very, very important in terms of the development of the children?
Yeah, I think obviously Khosru, we know he grew up with us, slightly older than us. So I have that trust in him that he's going to look after the boys. But I think what he says to me always, he says, these two are very talented and they've got a long way to go. So that gives me that extra motivation to keep going on their journey, to take them to competitions, to take them to seminars, to take them regularly to their weekly sessions. I think that's the key bit. Sometimes we parents, we send our children to whatever sessions it is. Like it could be a maktab, a madrasa, or it could be a sports session, and we leave them and we think, oh, I've got an hour free, so I'll just go and do my stuff. But actually, we don't ask the teacher or we don't ask the instructor, how are they doing? How can they progress? How can we help them? Are they getting stuck on anything? And that relation, like sometimes we feel, I'm not allowed to talk to the teacher because they're very busy. But actually, the teacher wants to know that the parents are keen and they want to know how to help their children develop. And unless we ask the question, unless we show their interest, the teacher's not, he's too busy. Like how many, there's like 20 parents. It's not going to go and ask all the 20 parents or call them up. So we need to make time. We need to show interest. And if we show interest, the teacher indirectly will show interest in the children.
Musa, when you go for your grading, so between every 3 to 6 months, you go for, tell us what happens. Where do you go? What's your experience on the day and how things take place?
So in the grading, so you go, normally it is at our Saturday training, so that's where the grading's held. But for the black belt, it's normally held in like Birmingham, Manchester, like somewhere like that. Sometimes it's in London as well. And so what happens is you get called in, and then you bow, and then the master, the one that assesses you, so he will tell you like sport exercises to do. So he might tell you to do like some kicks or like a few punches coming forward or something like that. And then he'll say a move in Korean. So he'll say something in Korean and he can't tell you what it is. He just says in Korean, and then you have to come forward. You have to do that move, and if you don't know it, then you don't know it. And so that's why it's really important to learn your theory, so then so then you're prepared. And then you have to do your patterns, which is like the set of movements against an imaginary opponent, as I mentioned earlier. So you have to do that. And sometimes you may have to do a little bit of sparring, a little bit, but that's not really the main thing in gradings. And then you have to do something called 1 step, 2 step, and 3 step. So it's like fighting, but it's got like, it's almost, you know what the opponent's going to do. So let's say they're going to do a punch, you do a block you do an appropriate block. Appropriate is the thing. Because if someone's doing a high punch and then you do a low block, what's that going to do? The master will just fail you. He's like, you don't know why you're doing this. So it's important to use so you know what each attack or defense is for. So then if it needs to be used, you know when to use it.
Brilliant. And Musa, so question for you is, we've got some lovely medals in front of us, some of the spoils from war, as I like to call them, and victory over the last few years. Again, fantastic that you guys have, and I've been looking at these pieces, and I'm very impressed with the quality. Can you describe your feelings when you receive a medal? Because it's about acknowledgement, it's about you being celebrated for all the hard work that you put in. How do you feel?
When you get a medal, like, because when you go to a competition, it's not definite that you're going to get a medal. Most of the time, me and Musa go to medals. Like, we do go to win, but it's more also about getting confident. It's more also about like getting closer to the Taekwondo community. But when you do get a medal, you feel very proud of yourself. And like some of these medals, like these small ones, they're mainly like small competitions. They're local. You know who you're versing. Sometimes these big ones, these big shiny ones, they're more like wide. They're more like from people scattered around the country. Some people never even seen them in your life. And some people, let's say me and Musa, we fight. We know how we fight. We've seen each other's fighting style. But if we're fighting some next random person from Birmingham, Manchester, I don't know, like some random guy, then you don't know how they fight. And if you beat them, it shows that you're a good fighter, and it kind of makes you more proud of yourself. And when you get the medal, it kind of, when you're standing on the podium, like you feel just like, sweats, like very, very proud of yourself.
I love the way you, I almost missed that. I love the way you just mentioned a few questions back about Coach Khosrow being much older than you as well. I thought that was quite slick the way you did that. So there was a bit of a subliminal message there going as well. So your final thoughts before we conclude our show here today. The floor's yours.
No, thank you. And boys, like, this is just the first step. You come in and do an interview. Like, if you finish your black belt, me and Emdad will host a party. You'll do some kicks around, not on us, amongst yourselves. Show everyone that what you're capable of. And inshallah, you will get your black belt and you'll progress. I want to see both of you be masters. That's what I want.
And again, boys, lovely words from your dad. Most important thing is keep working hard. These are universal values. Keep working hard, stay disciplined, look after others, take care of yourselves, your parents, express gratitude at all times. One of the things that we were discussing before the show started was about showing gratitude. The more we are grateful, the more our blessings increase. The more we are grateful, the more our blessings increase. And we have got a lot to be grateful for. Sometimes at face value, when we look at it, it doesn't seem to be like that as well. And again, viewers, just a reminder, there's a lot of lessons learned from we've had 2 youngsters here in the studio, but we've learned a lot of lessons, and gratitude is one of them. Sometimes it's very easy for us to get lost in moments and to get lost in our lives and to forget the important things that matter in our lives. There are many, many things that we have to celebrate and to be grateful for. And we all know that the more we express gratitude, as we just mentioned earlier, the more our blessings, this is guaranteed, the more our blessings will continue to increase. If you've been watching the sports show today and you've been inspired by these youngsters and the oldsters in the room, please do leave a kind word for us. Aside from that, the sports show was set up as a community platform to inspire people to use the power of sports to bring about positive change and magic in their own lives here today. We wish both the boys, Musa and Mustafa, the best of luck with the future. And we will be inviting them back, after they finish their black belts, after they finish their grading, and throughout their journey, they will always be welcome. As with all our guests, they will be welcome to come back onto the show to talk about what they're doing and to inspire others as well. And lastly, legacy is very, very important. We hope that the boys will continue to excel in what they're doing, to develop themselves continuously, but also in the future to inspire the next generation that will be following in their footsteps as well. You've been watching the Sports Show with the Wandering Londoner. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you soon.